Not well. Not well at all.
That is something that I should feel proud of.
You should be proud, yes.
Then why does it feel like you're putting your foot down on that?
I carried a lot of resentment for a long time.
Am I not good enough to be in your family? I'm like, I used to feel all these sort of things, but I cried. That I would even end my marriage if you ever rude to my mom and my dad. You gotta be effing kidding me. And walked away. Grandma, if you're watching this, I love you. I love you.
I believe in you, me, you, me, you, me, you, me, yeah. I believe in you, me, you, me, you, me, you, me, yeah. Let's stay here for a lifetime underneath the moonlight. 'Cause I don't want us to go. No, I don't want us to go. Yeah, you could be my lifeline, you could be my sunshine. In a world so full of pain, can you make it go?
Hey guys, welcome back to your channel and welcome to another episode in the series Getting Comfortable with the Barthols. Today we will be talking on the topic of family. Yes, it's a very general term, it's a very broad term, but we have narrowed it down to two main points that we want to touch on. The first one is how our families took the news and how that developed. Does that come off okay? Like, how did they take the news then and how it developed now? The second one is how our families influence our decisions, whether it be from personals to like family decision, or what's the impact our family have on our life right now.
I wouldn't even say that. That's way
impact?
Too broad.
Yeah.
I'd say more like how we consider our family when we make our decisions.
When we make our decisions.
Like how heavily we weight how our actions will affect our families.
Yeah.
Actually, we're going to go ahead and wait on this so we can go ahead and actually say hi to y'all, especially all new subscribers. Thank you for tuning in. If this is your first video and you like what you see, definitely stick around. I think you'll like what you find here. We tend to touch on some deep stuff sometimes. There's times you'll find some lighthearted fun bits. So if that sounds like it might please you, then go ahead and click that subscribe button down below. And if you're really feeling froggy, hit that bell, please.
Julie says we want to thank you guys for subscribing, and I've got a lot of especially comments in like previous YouTube videos asking when is the next uncomfortable, when are we going to do this, suggestions of topics that we can talk about, and we like that. We like that we have a community that we're building with, that we're able to share and get feedback from and build on that, you know. First, I just want to say that just has a, what do they call it? What's the word? Just as a disclaimer, we have awesome families. Just gonna put it that. We have awesome families. We are very blessed actually to have mutual families that support each other and support, I don't know how else to put it than just that we're just blessed, because sometimes you find, say for example, I get into your good family, but then when it comes to my side, it's like,
maybe they don't like me because they see fat American, or maybe no.
Why do you think it's that?
because that's often the perception that a lot of the world has of Americans.
That they're fat,
lazy, and entitled.
Yeah.
And I, that's one of those things that maybe your family had that. Like I was worried that your family would have had that prejudice. I never experienced that.
Yeah.
Just like you could have been worried. Like look at what everybody's worried about recently, even since 2016.
Right.
Everybody's worried about racism this, racism that.
Yeah.
And maybe you were. Well, I know you were worried about it.
Of course, scary. that was a big thing, especially because of some of the things that we're going to talk about and why those things triggered the way I feel. All right. So the first one, let me just reread this. How her family took the news and the news of us being in a relationship and how that developed. All right, you want to go first? I'll go after you.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Actually, or do you want to go first?
No,
'Cause mine's a little juicy.
Yeah, yours a little juicy, but it's okay, but you can go first.
All right. So, not well.
Yeah.
Not well. Not well at all. Because there was a lot of worry. Because
Mhm.
I made poor decisions with women throughout my entire life.
Mhm.
I made poor decisions. And I paid for it over and over and over. My family saw me get heartbroken. So when they saw me falling in love with not just a new girl, but a woman from out of the country, the immediate shock and fear that comes with that is this woman going to use my son to get a visa and leave him high and dry like any other thing? Is this what's going to happen? So she panicked.
Ooh,
And
panic.
my mom.
Okay.
Of course, I had to defend that the whole time, because we made a decision. We really stood together, like one-on-one, and said, "Listen, this is what we want, and going forward, we're gonna give this to God, and we're going to trust that we are going to learn to truly love one another, and we're going to commit to loving one another, because." Love in and of itself is a commitment, and it's hard.
That's true.
It's hard to love somebody all the time.
The infatuation phase kind of like fades very soon, and then you have to.
It didn't fade
Well,
soon.
I wouldn't say so, because I'm still infatuated. But I mean, like that whole, oh, I love you through thick and thin, and then thing come and you be like, hey, none of that, like and then you start acting up. But I'm like, it takes a lot than just saying I'm gonna love you through thick and thin for us. And as you said, I can definitely confirm, when we started our relationship, we literally started our relationship on God, like with God, as God in the middle, making every decision, praying about it. I remember I used to go on fastings. I would go to work and not eat or anything. God has always been in it. Yes. So you mentioned that I had a.
Yeah. Before we realized that the camera wasn't recording,
Yeah.
I had mentioned that Sherry has a story about my stepfather actually coming to figure out what was really going on after I broke the news that I proposed to a Jamaican woman, and it was something.
Yeah. So the thing is, we have to bear in mind that we got engaged probably like a month after knowing each other.
It was a whirlwind.
It's weird because I started working here like May 17th. That's when I actually get on the flight, reach here. So probably I started working like the 21st, 22nd of May.
We weren't engaged until after
July 17, July 19 actually, and my brother's birthday.
So
I never
that's 2
forget.
months.
Yeah, so that's like 2 months of knowing me. And I in my head, I feel it and I saw the signs coming, but I was just playing off like I didn't know anything. But anyway, he proposed.
What do you mean?
I know you were gonna propose because you were saying something about rocks and size, ringer size. Because I used to wear a fake ring. Because I wasn't looking for anybody. So, anyways, but yeah, I was working at a different hotel than where I met him that day, and his stepfather came and knocked on the door that I was cleaning. I was a housekeeper, and knocked on the door. And I opened the door and I was like, hello, how can I assist you? Bear in mind, I didn't know at the time that he was your stepfather. And I'm not even kidding you. I didn't even know that his mom worked there until
you knew Sarah was my mom. I told you knew immediately because we talked
immediately?
Yeah, because we talked about why I was working.
Oh, okay. No, I understand. The thing is, when I just started working there, remember, I knew you, but we didn't start talking immediately.
Yeah.
So I didn't know she was your mom before we started talking. Okay, yes, you're right.
But by that time.
Yes. And you know what? With Josh too, I think I knew Josh was your stepfather. I've never met him. I've never talked to him. Yes. So I knew he was his stepfather. I'm sorry. When he knocked on the door, I'm like, okay, he's being friendly, he's trying to say something to me. Guys, when I opened the door, the only thing I heard is, you gotta be effing kidding me, and walked away. And I'm like, okay. Because then I had my engagement band on my finger. So he opened the door just to see if it's true or whatever. And I had I had the ring on. It's like, you have to be effing kidding me. I have to tell you, in the moment, I was such a little confused because I'm like, okay, I don't know. Maybe think it was a different housekeeper I wanted to talk to, but that person didn't show up. And then I called Billy and I was like, I don't understand. And then he enlightens me. Guys, I cried. Maybe it's the first time I'm telling you that I cried, but I cried. I cried so much because I'm like, am I not good enough to be in your family? I'm like, you know, I used to feel all these sort of things, but you know what I've never done? I've never brought these things to my parents or my family or my friends. I've never. I've dealt with these things on my own and with God and with Billy. I've never brought it to my family. Never. So that was heartbroken for me, for a first impression.
Think if put yourself in the position of somebody who was trying to get a visa, right? What would you have to lose by
See,
marrying?
I cannot put myself in this because first of all, I didn't even know. I was talking to him, I was
Oh, yeah.
like, I didn't
You
know that
didn't, you
people
didn't.
marry people for a visa. I did not know. And when I came here in the program, I have only intentions to go back home to Jamaica because that was the year I was going to graduate from university and have plans to go to Canada to live, actually. I never wanted to live in the US. Never. I've never seen the US as somewhere that I would live and settle. It's always Canada for me.
Now you look at Canada. Canada sucks.
No, I love Canada
No
still.
offense, Canadians.
I love Canada. I love Canada still. But I've always wanted to go. I've always wanted to live in Canada. And then I met you and it's like my entire world just spin and I'm like, I'm going to have to make some hard decisions out of love. You know? So, what I have to say. Grandma, if you're watching this, I love you. I love you. And I mean, I love Mom. I love Josh. But Grandma was the person for me that kind of like break the ice or break the barrier of everything that I was feeling with. I remember when you introduced me to Grandma, she said, no, when you first texted her, she said, you have to let me meet her, and you brought me to Whitewater where she was working the first time. And Grandma accepted me from day one. Your mom invited me out on a brunch and I was shocked because, mind you, I didn't know some of these things that Billy was dealing with on that side of the family, you know, like about me. I go to work, I say good morning, I say hello and everything, and that's fine. The only time you brought something to me, you was like, oh, my mom been telling all her friends that you're with this prettiest Jamaican girl or something like that.
Facts.
Yeah, that was, I remember.
Absolute facts.
I remember that moment, and I was like, in my head, it was okay because at the time I didn't know all the stuff you were battling with until it gets like really deep and you start opening up to me and start telling me.
But it wasn't. I mean, it wasn't all bad. Like really, what they were all worried that you were going to, that I was making the same mistake I had made before. I've told you the stories. I've told you about what happened with the different bad decisions that I've made, and my mom was horrified because she thought that I was falling for another line, you know, hook, line, and sinker to get somebody their visa and then, you know, be responsible for them and have to continue paying for them even though they left me high and dry.
Have you ever gotten anyone their visa before or any in that situation?
Not that situation. But
Okay.
I've made other dumb decisions.
Like just being with somebody who is not good for you or whatever
Yes,
like that? Okay.
among other things.
Okay.
It's like I've made I made dumb decisions. I was not intelligent. It took a long time for me to figure out what I needed and what I deserved. And when I met you, I knew, right?
Yeah.
And I knew hard enough that I would that I could defend that. But they were all just trying to make sure that I was, you know, making the right decision, that I really was safe. Because after that brunch that my mom had with you, it really broke the ice because she talked to me later on and sat down and, you know, asked me, you know, as a parent, is this really what you want to do? Is this it? And I said, absolutely not. This is it. She's the one. And she said, okay. I love her.
Well, you know what though? There's one thing that I can say, and I hope that it is enough and like all of them can back me on it, is like I've always been genuine from the start. In how I feel, in who I am, in my background. Like, my stories never change. I'm always this girl who's very connected to my family. I grew up I'm very close knitted. We grew up poor, or whatever. Like, that story has never changed. When it comes to, like, oh, that wasn't Sherry when I met her, or that wasn't, like, what were you gonna say?
No, your tangent and like getting braggy.
No, it's not braggy. It's just saying, coming from a family standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes when you enter into a family, you say all these nice things, and you say all these things because you want to feel accepted. You want them to accept you. I'm just saying that has never changed.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. It's not being saying, hey, I'm this girl that is all good. You're making it sound like I'm saying that, but I'm really not. You're making it sound like I'm being braggy. I'm not being braggy. I'm just saying.
I literally said one sentence. How am I making it sound like
That's
anything?
right,
I didn't justify it. I said one sentence.
No, your sentence say, I'm making it sound braggy.
And then you jumped on like, you're making it sound like I said one sentence. I didn't make it sound like anything. I pointed out an observation that I had.
Okay.
And if I'm wrong, you can point it out.
And that's what I just did. But you stopped me while pointing it out.
I am proud of, like I am extra proud of me.
But actually, I am really proud. I am really proud that the person they met 5 years ago has only grown from there. Nothing within that line changes to say, she's changed, she's such a different person. If anything, I grow. And that is something that I should feel proud of.
You should be proud, yes.
Then why does it feel like you're putting your foot down on that? By saying...
Being proud and being a braggart are two different things. And I was telling you what the body language said to me.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Like, I'm telling you what I interpreted, right?
Yeah.
And I'm giving you the reasons why I interpreted it that way. If I'm wrong, that's okay. I'm sorry that I interpreted that wrongly. It's not the thing that it was supposed to. I didn't interpret it the way that you meant it.
And I'm not trying to say what you feel and what you observe, you don't have a right to feel, because at the end of the day, it's your perception, it's what you see.
But I need to be open and willing to understand what actually happens in order for me to understand what you really mean, right? And that's why when I make the observation and you start telling me no, like that I'm wrong, I accept it. Thank you for telling me that I'm wrong.
I'm not saying you're wrong, I'm just saying in that moment, that's basically what, yes.
That's not what you meant to be, that's not what you meant.
Yeah.
So that's a chance for us to have that dialogue that's like, this is what you actually meant, why I'm wrong, right? And why I need to understand what you actually meant.
Yeah. When it comes to my side of the family, I remember when I called my mom was one of the first person I told when I met Billy, and then afterwards I told my sister Kay, which is like my biggest sister, is like one of my best friends. I told her, and then I think I told my mom and dad in the same time. For them, it was more of, is he a Christian? Does he go to church? Because if you guys know, I grew up in the church. I've been a Christian for most of my life. So that was very important to them, and all that stuff. And I remember my mom, those were just the only questions. And, like my mom would ask is like, well, you're coming back, right? And I'm like, of course, I'm coming back because I have to graduate, and, I would never do that to my family. I don't care who you are, I would never do that. So, yeah, my parents, believe it or not, they don't show expressions, but I can tell you, based on conversation, they were very scared for me as much as our moms were scared for Billy. They were very scared because, one, they don't met this guy. I've never bring a guy home to my parents. I've never told my parents about a boyfriend, and I was 22 years old at the time when I met Billy. 21 turning 22.
No, you were 22 turning 23 because
yes.
Every one of your passwords on every one of your social medias, every time you wanted to talk about it was such and such 23.
Yeah.
And two...
Yeah, then I changed them home.
Yeah.
So you don't try to put in my password though, because those are all changed. But I have to say, when I got engaged, I have to use the term promise ring to my parents, like promise, and explain it in a way where I know I wasn't gonna break their heart. And I can tell you why. Just imagine your daughter go to a different island, meet this guy, engage without getting their father's blessing, without meeting them, without like, and my family is a very structured family. So all of my siblings are married. Well, not all of them, but most of my siblings are married. My youngest sister is 20 years old, which she can marry too if she wants. Just to tell you, all of my siblings they're big. They go through what you consider the right and moral thing to do, making sure each side of the parents come together, they meet, they talk, and have this thing. It's not saying, hey, you get to decide who I'm married to. No, it's just a respect thing, and that's big for me. Like making sure my fiance knows my dad, get my dad's blessing. None of that didn't happen because
At first.
I
have it now.
at first, because it was everything just happened so fast, and like we're falling so hard.
And then I couldn't speak patois.
Yeah, and Billy couldn't speak patois at the time, and my dad speak nothing but patois. Like he's when Billy would talk sometimes, my dad was like, I don't understand. No, my dad was like, Billy won't understand my French or something, like that, because he just speaks straight patois, and Billy wasn't fluent at the time. So on that side of it, my family, they were scared as much as how Billy was scared, but it was never because of race. It was like, oh, you're gonna be an American. It was never because of nothing else. It's only because of this moral standard, which is very important to them. I haven't met this person, and they would they've never mentioned that to me. They've never mentioned that. They only always bring it up and say, but we have to meet Billy, and we have to meet, and then after the engagement, when I go back home after my graduation, my mom and dad will be like, is Billy coming this December? Like trying to know. I'm like, no, he's in the army, he can't come. At the time, you really couldn't come,
No, I didn't have time. I didn't have the leave.
You didn't have leave, or nothing. You couldn't just come.
I was making E1 pay. We weren't married yet, so I had no
everything was like,
I had no BAS.
Yeah.
I had a truck payment, and it was.
It was a lot of stuff going on at the time, and then you think about our marriage. My mom and dad, and I don't want to get teary because sometimes it still gets me, they were not at my first wedding. They were not, and I got married here. My two sisters were. My best friend flew from Florida to be there, but my parents wasn't. For the entire day, from the morning I wake up, it's like a part of me is missing, and I feel sad, and I feel nervous, and I feel all this emotion because the two people that made me who I am is not there. And as I said, my family was very close. That my parents, they dealt with it. They dealt with it so good, which I can tell you. Well, maybe I can't tell you. Let me ask you: would your side of the family do it the way that my parents deal with it? Know that you come to Jamaica, you get married, they are not gonna be there. Would they take it the way that my parents supported and like still take it? Because I don't know. I don't want to put anything saying
I don't know, and they don't know. To be entirely honest, that's one of those weird situations where you could talk about it all day, but you're never gonna know until
that is not a situation where you can't think of. Can you imagine mom not being at your wedding because you're in another country? That's all it is. Can you? What do you think she would be upset?
She'd be moderately upset, yeah.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying like if you, for example, I'm just saying these are things that you can think about. You can legit think about them.
But in the end of the day,
you can't really say for sure how they would feel.
I can't say how she's gonna feel because you may be able to say she'd be upset, but at the same time, she may be incredibly happy just because I'm going to that lengths for the person that I'm in love with, that I'm really doing that and going to that distance because that shows her that it's real.
Would they have supported it? Would they have supported your decision in the same breath, like saying, I know I'm your mom and dad, I'm not gonna be there, but have a good wedding and make sure.
She would.
Okay, I'm just asking because at the end of the day, I don't know. I know my parents more than you know my parents. You know your parents more than I know, so that's what I'm asking. But that was a big hiccup for me. My entire wedding day, it's like a part of me was missing, And if you guys seen our previous videos, we did renew our vows in Jamaican, and I can tell you, it doesn't fill the same gap of the missing, like of my first wedding, but it fills a lot more stuff. It feels more than just that, you know, because I get to walk with both my mom and dad, which a lot of married couple, they don't get that.
We didn't
opportunity.
have to follow a tradition.
Yeah.
It was literally
We're
what
just
we
doing
wanted.
it just to
what
get
we
them
wanted
involved.
exactly the way that we wanted it. We didn't need a preacher. We didn't need
Nope.
anything else. We were already married. We could have exactly the ceremony that we wanted, with exactly the people that we wanted, as big or as small as we wanted it.
And it was very important for me. It was very important that I could walk with my parents, my siblings could be there, my grandma could be there, and even though my grandma passed, I'm just really glad that I get
That.
to have that moment, because if it never happened, like, I could never, like, forgive myself of not having my grandma there. And you know, my grandma means a lot to me, you know, and I'm just really glad that we were able to go and, like, do that, because as I said, I'm very close to my family, like my direct family, like my siblings, my grandma, my nieces and nephews, like, I'm very close. So that was a good thing that we went. And yeah, thank you. I didn't mean to pull your hands from mine. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'm just here.
I miss my grandma, but I hope she's watching over us.
I mean, you hope. What do you mean you hope? You know. So what do you mean you hope? You know.
My family didn't take it horribly. They did not. If anything, they were so proud of me, because one, Bill was the first one I've ever taken to my family, the first one, and
It only took 4 years.
and I was on the verge of finishing college, which is a big thing for me. Like, you're not a dropout. You go, you get all these goals, you're in the right path, and they're just mindful it wasn't anyone that's gonna throw me off that path, you know. So yeah, my family took it good. It was after I got engaged, as I was telling them. I have to use the term promise ring and say, oh, because he's leaving for the military, he's just promising that he's coming back. Oh, I was wholly engaged. I was engaged, but I couldn't break my family's heart like that, because it was like, nobody asked her to end in marriage and that and disrespectful. And Billy can tell you, it bothers me throughout my entire relationship. Like, you need to learn how to speak proper, because you need to get this from my dad. It was just like, it was hurting my heart that there wasn't like a relationship between you and my dad through that method, you understand? But my family didn't take it anyway.
Well, he and I get along real well now.
Oh, my dad loves you. Yeah.
And that kind of brings me into the second point that I wanted, that we were thinking about making, which is how those first reactions
and impressions,
developed, and what the relationship that we have with our families, both sides of them, because we have a massive blended family. Like, honestly, there are members of my family that have just been entirely adopted into the family down there, who aren't, you know, mind you, that doesn't have to happen. And in a lot of places that doesn't. Like, you have a husband side and the wife side of the family, but we have a great big blended family where everybody just loves everybody. People talk. Your sisters have come up and they've stayed with my grandma. Your sisters know my mom. Your sisters know my sister. Like, everybody knows everybody, and they get along. We've got this massive blended, multicultural, diverse smorgasbord of a family. And my mom and my grandma and my dad and literally every member of my family, there is no end to the praises that they laud on you. You are everything that they had hoped that I would end up with. And my mother is so grateful for you. And she's talked to me about it, and she's talked to you about it. And I feel like, with the way that I feel, like, with the way that our families have developed, and with the massive, like I said, blended smorgasbord of just multicultural, just diverse everybody. It's real unity.
Yes. Yes.
Our whole family is a depiction of what unity really is.
You know. And you know that's very important for me, because as I said, I'm a very close-knit family. My mom always told us that. Huh?
I said we weren't.
You weren't? Oh, yeah, but I've always been close. My mom always said that you have 4 sisters. Let them be your best friends. You don't need friends. You know, like just to like. And I mean, yes, we do have friends outside, but let me tell you, my siblings, they're really my best friends. You know, and when it comes to how that has developed now with both of the families, there is no hands of things that I would sacrifice and do for Billy's family as much as I would do for my family. And Billy can tell you that. Like, when it comes to family, I do not play. If your family needs help and we can help, we're gonna be there. If our family needs us, we're gonna be there. You know, because like I'm very close to my family. I'm very close. So
You encouraged me.
You, yes.
You encouraged me to not be so standoffish because I carried a lot of resentment for a long time.
Yeah.
But I really got a lot of encouragement, you know, because of the relationship that you have with your family.
Yeah.
To really put all of that in the past and learn to forgive and walk past.
Yeah.
Learn to love everybody for who they are now, for who they are.
Yeah.
Instead of holding against them
who they were. Yeah. Because sometimes that is really hard, and even within a relationship, like I struggle with that too sometimes, you know. But being what? They're saying it's true, but it's true. I told you that too, that I struggle with that.
Yeah, and that's one of those things that I pointed out, where you know we have those things where it's like, oh, you did or you were.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I'm not.
And I think it's because of how deep and how hard I love. It's like once I get hurt, I can't see past. I can't see past the hurt or anything. But that's not the topic of what we're on, so I'm not gonna get into that.
Save that for another time.
Yeah. But my mother-in-law, I don't. It sounds weird calling her my mother-in-law, because I would just call her mom. I really just call her mom because like it doesn't feel any.
Mom? We have moms.
Yeah, I just have mom or mommy and mom or moms. You know, like there's nothing. The only difference that I can say is that my mom, I'm biologically related to her. She pushed me out, and then like mom's is my adopted mom. Like there's nothing, you know. And
when you watch this, moms, I want one of them avocados when they're ready. Like, I will be taking your firstborn avocado.
Yeah.
Understand that. Actually, you know what? That's not even mom. That's Josh.
Yeah.
I'm coming for your firstborn, Josh. Promise you.
Yeah, and it's funny because when we were in Alaska, and I was like telling, like some of the girls, I was like, "Oh my God, my mother-in-law is coming!" And like, I'm excited. They're like, "Are you crazy?" They're like, "Oh, get excited for your mother-in-law comes over." Oh, da da da. I'm like, dude. What kind of life are y'all living? What do you mean? You're not excited because your mother-in-law is coming over. And then you told me the whole story of in-laws and stuff. The thing is, it's weird for me. Because I've seen my mom taking three in-laws, 3 daughter-in-laws. And they were like, their daughters.
That's because your mother is a good Christian.
I don't know. I just always grew in a close-knit family. And over time, those in-laws that come into the family, their biological family becomes a part of our family. It's just like a big whole never-ending family of love and like fights and disagreements and love. It's just like I'm always close to my family. So with mom, I'm very close.
I was roasting Muno with it.
When you reached out there, yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. So
I
you
still
know.
roast Kay.
Yeah. Oh, they take your roasting and laugh like it's some sweet melody joke.
They
know you're just
serious.
humorous.
I'm just playing.
Yeah.
And I'll poke fun at myself just as much.
Yeah. I don't know. I have to tell you, I love Billy's family. And there's a, like, I want to say it's one or two time that me and Billy's stepdad kind of like kick it off. And it's like over stupid stuff, off Facebook stuff, when the whole, black and white. And he would post his funny jokes, but for me, it's like, hey.
No, Gordon, no!
What?
I saved him.
Jesus Christ. It's so squishy.
It's Gordon. You leave.
Okay. But yeah, I remember we have a couple times where we eat it off because,
Say hello to Gordon. This is my hedgehog.
Oh my god, babe.
Sorry, I had to introduce him. I threw him on the ground. They need to meet my hedgehog Gordon.
And what is this one?
It's a bear, and you have not named it yet.
This one is Billy.
Name it Mochi. Whatever.
Mochi,
It's the
okay.
bear named Mochi.
Okay.
Because it's stretchy and is colored like a mochi.
Yeah. But I'm just like talking about the times that we had a couple conflict because of what I believed in, and I was black and the whole Black Lives Matter was going around and stuff got itchy, and I reacted, right? I reacted not thinking that this is my, well, I was gonna say this is my blood, but like this is my family. How do you react to family? In my head, it's like, I'm never shutting down for a family member. If I have something to say, I always say it. It doesn't matter. And they always say, oh, you don't think before you talk. But it's always like that. I've always been genuine in how I feel. So sometimes it comes a little harsh and little stuff. But that was the only thing. I've never had a conflict with mom. I've never had a conflict with grandma. You have never had a conflict with my family. And that's just how it's been. And like, Billy, this fine young man, can do no wrong in my family's eyes. He's the king of the world. He is the shining armor, whatever they call it. There's no wrong. If anything you hear, sure, you're too miserable. Sure, Sure, leave Billy alone. Sure. I'm like, wait a minute. Is anybody over here on my side or anything?
Okay.
Stand up for the blood. Kid's always gonna be on my side. But
You said
you're,
it's anybody.
you're right. You're right.
You
Kid's
said it's
not always
anybody.
on my side. Kid's not always on my side. What do you mean? Of course Kenna is close. Kenna is like,
What do you mean she's not on your side then?
babe. Like literally, if anything happened to Kenna on the phone with you, who said that she did?
I don't know. I really.
Babe, are you
When does anything happen when we're on the phone with her?
I don't know, like if anything, and K. Remember when they used to fake and say, oh, K is gonna do this and K is gonna do that, K is gonna do that. K was like, you told me so, I leave Billy alone. You don't know every time when K defended you?
No, I didn't. I didn't know that was the thing
Oh
that
my
happened.
god.
because-
So you always think K and I so close that K is always taking my side and blame and thinking you're wrong?
Not necessarily thinking I'm wrong,
Or
but
thinking
just
like I'm
thinking
in the
that you're right.
because we're so close?
Yeah.
Oh,
Like, that's
no.
genuinely what I thought.
You know my family, honestly, I have to say, they might jokingly and say, oh, I'm too miserable and leave Billy alone, but they are very upfront people. They will never give me right where I'm supposed to be wrong, or ever give you wrong where you're supposed to be right.
If they have something, like, anytime they've had something to say, like, they've said it. Like, I've sat down and had, the conversation with your dad of, like, how do I make this work with your daughter?
Yeah.
Like, this is your daughter. This is your blood. You raised her.
Yeah.
How can I be the man that your daughter deserves?
Yeah.
And, your dad, he just laughs and,
Yeah, my dad is very good.
just be good, man.
Yeah, my dad really doesn't have nothing to say. Then, when I was leaving,
Yeah, we just don't fight.
yeah.
That's what he says. We just don't fight. We just never fight.
Yeah, my dad and my mom, they never had a fight. And I don't know how, but here they are. So when it comes to your dad, it's just like a different level of respect that I have for him, because he has always been present.
He's always been as present as he can.
Yeah, and he's always encouraged. There's never a bad feeling or anything that I get from your dad.
Shoot, we were talking. I was
Never.
talking to him. I talked to him about Papa over
Yeah.
the last couple of days. I wanted to check on Papa, make sure Papa was doing good. And I reached out to Dad, and Dad's first question, like after I asked him about Papa, was, how are you guys doing?
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure we were doing all right.
Yeah. I don't have any, I literally don't have any ill feeling. And what I think this all comes down to is respect. I respect my mom, the level of respect that I have for my mom is all the way up here. There's no level to it. And you know what? That's the same level of respect that I have for Billy's mom. Because you know what? I cannot understand. I cannot see past Billy being rude to my mom. I tell you, I would lose it. I would probably eat. I told him already that I would even end my marriage if you ever rude to my mom and my dad. Because that's a level of like respect. Like I wouldn't cross that line. Nobody else crosses that line. Especially not the person I'm going to depend on spending the rest of my life with. Because there's...
Well, not without reason. Right?
There's never a reason to be disrespectful to nobody's parents, and that's it. Because
I disagree.
Yeah, you're going to disagree because...
The moment that a parent begins to talk down...
I was going to comment that line
down,
on your partner and being disrespectful and anything like that. That's what I was going to say.
I don't care who you are. You can be my partner's mother, father, sister, brother. You can be my partner's daughter. You know what? At the end of the day, if you attempt to beat down the woman that I love the most, I'll take your head off.
No, you know,
not physically.
No.
Not physically. You know, of course, just I will definitely have some words to say, and I don't care who you are because nobody will beat you down. But that's a tangential statement.
Yeah, I can understand that, but in the same breath, I don't think I'm gonna change the statement by saying there should never be a reason for you to be disrespectful, or for me to be disrespectful. Because you know what, guys, things can get tough. But you see your mom and your dad, I think there's a different level of thing. You can politely say, Mom, I respect you, but you're not gonna be able to talk to my husband like that. What he did wasn't right or wasn't in the right way, but I would never disrespect my parents.
You're assuming a wrong being done in the first place. I've seen it happen without that. That's my point.
In our relationship?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. What I'm saying, this is a hypothetical situation, right?
Yes.
Because I've seen things like this happen.
Okay.
People being beat down over a wrong not committed.
Over a wrong not committed.
Exactly.
Okay.
As in, let's say we went down and you spilled a glass of water on the floor, you went to clean it up, and your mom started flipping out and yelling at you about how you're not good enough and you always fail and things like that.
Oh.
In a situation like that,
yeah.
I'm taking your mom's head off. Like, I'm turning around and I'm defending you 100%
Oh,
of the
no,
time.
you're not.
Because in that situation, a wrong was not committed, and you are being berated over spilled
But you doing a second one doesn't make it right, babe. You can legit say, okay, you can say, Mom, I think you misunderstood this. That's not what happened. You know, she's good enough. You can correct it all those in the same breath without being rude and being disrespectful. And that's where I think our point is gonna stand different, because I still think that it doesn't matter how bad it is.
But your
none
mom
of us should come. I know it's just hypothetical, but I'm just saying.
Telling me if Mom turned around and started yelling at me over nothing about how much of a nasty set of words.
Your mom in Missouri? If she started yelling,
hypothetical.
yeah.
Hypothetical.
If she
You're
started
telling
yelling,
me that if Mom went off on me and just turned around and started flipping out on me over basically nothing, calling me every nasty name in the book,
yeah,
and didn't have anything, no care about what you had to say, didn't have no care that you were standing there, and you listened to Mom berate me, you wouldn't jump in and flip out about that?
I would correct her in every moment, but you know what? She's your mom. That's the one thing that I keep looking at. She's your mom. At the end of the day, she's your mom.
And at the end of the day, you and I are the ones who chose one another.
Yeah, but she's your mom, babe. Without I wouldn't have. She's your mom. There's just that level there that I can never cross.
There are lots of things, but that's where you and I also differ very heavily, because I look at it very directly as
you don't care who it is once they cross that line with the person you love.
I chose you.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you are at the end of the day, by blessing or otherwise, I was born into the family that I was born into.
Yes. You didn't have a choice for your family.
No.
We have a choice for the family you're building.
Out of every person in the world,
yeah,
I picked one.
Yeah.
And I picked one person that I will spend the rest of my life with or without.
And that's understandable. And you know, I've always supported you. I've always backed you, but like...
And that's why I place you above my mother. That's why I place you above your mother. Because at the end of the day, there's a saying, you know, blood is thicker than water. It's not the real saying.
Yeah.
The real saying,
It's what?
the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb.
The blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb.
Correct. That's the actual saying.
Yeah.
And what that saying means is that the relationships we choose are stronger
Yeah.
and based in a deeper connection than those that are forced upon us by birth.
Yeah. Because you get to choose exactly the personalities and everything you're going to be
It's
around.
like,
you were
this
born
is-
into something you don't know
I
what you're
was
coming
born
into.
into my family.
Yes.
There's a reason that even in the Bible it talks about, you know, when you grow up, you choose. You grow and you choose to leave your mother and father.
Yeah.
To walk together as one flesh with your new partner.
Yeah.
Because the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb.
I don't know.
That's the way I am.
And I kind of understand. I definitely get it, but for me, it's just my heart is like, it's like we're here, and they can do everything, whatever they want to do at this level, to us down here, and I'm gonna say something to here. But once it reaches this line, it's either I'm just gonna go silent and be really mad, and that's the thing. I will cry. And I will avoid you, and I will go silent. I will even get into malice of not talking than say anything that's gonna disrespect a parent. I can never do it. So,
Thank you guys for being the best sort of therapy.
yeah, because like I don't think there was any other situation where we could like really just sit down and talk about it like that.
Sure, we can, but there's no other
Nothing
time.
to drive it.
Well, there's no other time that'll force us to be civil.
You're right, like
There's
without yelling and like being, and
No,
you know
not
what?
even
Not
yelling.
even yelling. Honestly,
It just
it's
walking
like,
out of the room or getting upset.
or just getting
and this
quiet.
It forces us to listen.
Yeah, or just get it. Because for me, I just get silent and I just like zone out and I'm like, okay, I'm just done, like literally. But this forces me to like talk, you know, and I'm not a big talker, but you know what? Thank you guys so much for watching, and hopefully we'll see you in the next video. And please, we love to see the comments. Don't just watch and think. Ask the questions, make the comments, and always be civil in the comments. We always ask for that. We know it's like 100% attainable all the time, because people are different. People's personalities are different. They're gonna express themselves. They're gonna say what they want. But we always ask to leave a thumbs up if you
If
like
you're a jerk,
this
I'll
video.
ban you.
Leave a thumbs up if you like this content. Please make sure your notification bells are turned on. We do realize that some of our subscribers are being unsubscribed, so please make sure your subscribe is not in red but in black, and your notification bell is turned on. And please remember to share the content. If you like the content, share it with your neighbors, share it with your friends, share it with your co-workers. I mean, even if you don't like them, just share it. And yeah. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.
Bye.
Bye.